well, join us on Facebook as we're live at Ebona Ade 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. I am Martin. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Again, queues resurface at banks as customers battle cash scarcity. Again, queues resurface at banks as customers battle cash scarcity. How President as Petroleum Minister stalled 11 trillion naira subsidy probe. IPOB ready to receive Kano after Supreme Court judgment. Nigeria's education system a ticking time bomb. Oloja warns. No amount of intimidation, sabotage will make me surrender my mandate, says Fubara. 21 power projects abandoned in Southeast since 2019, says TCN. Why it is difficult to remove sitting president, says Salis. We are not disturbed by plots to restore power in 2027, says APC. Guba polls. Northeast women. Others tax Supreme Court on appeals. NJC sacks Oshun George, rejects Adeleke's request to suspend Chief Justice. Afrexim Bank's president Orama emerges Forbes Africa's Person of the Year. NDIC begins payment of 16 billion naira to depositors of failed banks. Out of school kids. Bauchi UNICEF begin door-to-door mapping. 26 civil society organizations call for probe, apology over Kaduna bombing. Oyo laws UNESCO for enlisting Sango Festival in World Heritage List. Middle Belt Coalition, APM, validates Ododo's election. Senate rejects petition on amendment of SURCON Act. Journalist falls 1.33 trillion naira budgetary allocation to health. Niger, blue carbon sign pact on tree planting. 96% female contestants lost in 2023 polls. Troops kill 80, arrest 304 as defense headquarters assured speedy investigation into Kaduna killing. Ekiti Teaching Hospital in emergency crisis, MDCAN, tells Oyabanji. Rising cases of gender-based violence worry Kogi government, civil society organizations. Adebayo Adelabu set to rejoin APC in Oyo. Solid Minerals Minister Alake says 1,633 mining licenses revoked. Mo Abudu named in Forbes World's 100 Most Powerful List 2023. Christmas. Mba assures Enugu residents, travelers of security as army flags off exercise. NAPTIP backs IPA's data-driven approach to eradicating trafficking in persons. Forensic Institute urges federal government to plug financial wastages. NHRC cautions against anti-civil society laws. Rivers seek synergy among agencies for service delivery. Restructuring critical for Nigeria's stability development, says NISEAR. Stakeholders. NOA advocates youth's social orientation to curb insecurity. Technology aiding productivity in Lagos, says Sanwo-Olu. Foreign Kampala. Ogun. Assembly, 6 ban on importation. 1,633 mining licenses revoked, says Alake. WARIF raises awareness of rape, sexual violence with 5th no tolerance march. Navy arrest vessel, 17 suspects for illegal siphoning of crude oil in Ondo. 1 shot as gunmen attack Sunshine Stars players, officials. People with disabilities tax Tinubu on peace in Kano. NG Cares holds a training to combat gender-based violence in Nigeria. Army rewards soldiers for distinguishing themselves in exams. Reps panel chief Eteba grilled EFCC prison officials over attempts to abduct MFLA. NAWOJ others seek justice for SGBV survivors. Jacob wins 4th Janet Adowe Scrabble Classics as championship gets international status. Jacob wins 4th Janet Adowe Scrabble Classics as championship gets international status. DSS, EFCC risk contempt proceedings in court over Emefiele. Obaseki, IDH sign memorandum of understanding to improve livelihoods of farming communities in Edo. Environmental, health, emotional risk of erecting BTS in close proximity. Environmental, health, emotional risk of erecting BTS in close proximity. Be driver of change to Nigeria. Owoni Koko tax youth. Dangote refinery to commence fuel production as its first crude shipment lands today. African Development Bank president to deliver Veritas University convocation lecture. Cardoso approves CBN's review service charter. Sanusi demand proper audit of NMPC kicks against a president as petroleum minister. Akwa Ibom confirms interrogation of refugees in compliance with UNHCR plans. I never referred to Nigerian students as criminals. EFCC boss. Customs seizes contraband worth 872 million naira once against ingenious concealment. Lagos State University launches one-stop mobile app to improve staff productivity. Prisoners from foreign countries work at construction sites in Nigeria. Ochomule raises alarm. We were not part of federal government's delegation to COP28, says NLC. APC not jittery over gang up plot by PDP, Labour Party, NMPP, says Omoka. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency operatives repel gunfire attack in Edo Forest. Bank directed to disconnect non-deposit financial institutions from NIBSS transfer list. VIOs can arrest traffic offenders, FRSC clarifies. Tinubu Talon meet to boost economic prosperity in West Africa. Man arrested in Enugu for impersonating popular philanthropists to commit fraud. PDP, NNPP, 5 others from form coalition of concerned political parties. PDP, NMPP, 5 others from coalition of concerned political parties. Senate President pledges to give priority to bills on disability. Alleged attack on Tribunal Secretary. SDP's utterances betrays suspicious knowledge of incident. APC, National Working Committee. Minister laments poor allocation to Disability Commission in 2024 budget. Oyo approves contract for 84.7-kilometer Ibadan inner roads. Michelle Obama, Melinda Gates visit Malawi to campaign against child marriage. Forbes names Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala most powerful woman in Africa. Soludo hails armed forces for achieving peace, unity. Currency scarcity hits Imo, businesses in slow operation. Despite court order, Rivers Assembly sits, elects new House leader. Whip. Christian Association of Nigeria to build secretariat in Isoko community. Alumni donate multi-million naira school projects. Foundation to honor Onosode with research center. Burkinabe, Malian, Nigerian coups promoting insecurity in West Africa. ECOWAS insists. Burkina Faso, Malian, Nigerian coups. Burkina Faso, Malian, Nigerian coups promoting insecurity in West Africa. ECOWAS insists. African Development Bank urges exemption of African countries from European Union carbon tax. Oni visits Kuje Custodial Center, secures release of 5 inmates. Festac demolition. FHA warns against continued development. That's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And from the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to Leadership newspaper. Canada jacks up cost of living threshold to 250,000. Canada jacks up cost of living threshold to $20,000 for international students. While investors are running away from Nigeria, P2B use insurance to grow businesses during tough times. Experts. Tinubu appoints Henneken chairman, board of NCDMB management team. Foreign airlines shun export cargoes over high airport charges. Federal government. Foreign airlines shun export cargoes over high airport charges. Federal government. Dangote refinery set to commence operations as first crude shipments arrive. NIBSS bars fintechs from banks fund transfer channels. Federal government partners banks on 35 billion naira fund to revive Ajokuta steel mill. Expensive year tide ahead as CBN raises customs rate by 21.5%. Afrexim Bank President Orama emerges Forbes Africa's 2023 Person of the Year. Senator Akpoti Uduaghan makes case for maternal mortality in 2024 budget. Meto condemns attacks on Gbajabiamila, advocates issue-based politics. It's shameful. Kokori couldn't get best treatment in Nigeria. Okpadokun. Federal government spends more on feeding security dogs than inmates. CGNCS. Nigerian woman on trial for selling over 120 children. Former Governor Osumbo finally joins Edo governorship race. I won't allow sabotage truncate my mandate. Fubara. Veteran journalist unveils new book, The Beauties of Nigeria. NJC recommends compulsory retirement of Oshun George. Yellowtide. Mba assures travelers of safety. Army begins special operation. Kaduna drone killing. Officers found guilty will be punished. Tinubu. Political parties ask federal government to immortalize Kokori. Political parties ask federal government to immortalize Kokori. And that's the much we can take from the Leadership newspaper this morning. You are still tuned to Ebona the 103.5 FM, and this is newspaper headlines from the Leadership newspaper. We flip over to Vanguard newspaper. Obong of Calabar Stool, Cross River government urged to set up independent panel to handle disputes. We expect maintenance of rule of law in determining Nnamdi Kanu's case. MBA. Kokori, pro-democracy icon, dies at 80. Tinubu, Oborowori, Lupeng, others mourn. Appeal Court Judge, Justice Ike, dies at 65. Noise pollution. Lagos seals churches, mosques, other establishments. Naira falls to 1,200 naira per dollar in parallel market, gains 11% in NAFEM. Kaduna era. We will be 100% sure before bombing targets. Defense headquarters. Henry Kisegang. A course on Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Yellowtide. Mba assures Enugu residents, travelers of security. Failed abduction. File contempt proceedings against EFCC, DSS, Reps Committee tells Emefiele's lawyers. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Repair our refineries, sell to those who can run them. Falaye tells federal government. APC wants Dino Ajaka against promoting ethnic social unrest in Kogi. APC wants Dino Ajaka against promoting ethnic social unrest in Kogi. I will not surrender my mandate, Governor Fubara. 2024 budget. Tinubu commences work on Abuja Lagos Super Highway. Benue APC crisis divides assembly. Majority leader. Obong of Calabar 2. Cross River government urged to set up an independent panel to handle dispute with taking this. Biden wife condemned Las Vegas campus shooting. I didn't turn to cat to escape arrest. Sunday, Igboho breaks silence on DSS raid. Navy arrests another motor tanker. Vinalaris 1. Lagos for crude oil crime. We lost 13 billion naira weekly to Nigeria. Niger border. We lost 13 billion naira weekly to Nigeria-Niger border closure. Freight forwarders. Still on the stories making the headlines on Vanguard newspaper this morning. Kokori succumbed to injuries inflicted on him during pro-democracy struggles. Nupeng mourns. Ondo government, PDP Bika over alleged looting of state resources. Oshomule to NLC insists on 35,000 naira for workers or no Christmas for government employers. US firm Baker Hughes set to build oil refinery in Nigeria. Government officials signing document in Akeredoru's name, Ajulo. NECA blames exit of P&G, others on infrastructure policies. That's the much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Still on the stories making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning from the Vanguard newspaper, we'll flip over to the Punch newspaper. Nigeria in talks with India to procure fighter jets. Federal government, IFAD, empower 500 women, 100 youths in Edo. Lagos state government seals 19 event centers over safety violation. Lagos State University unveils a mobile app for staff. Government trains workers in artificial intelligence. Court dismisses Niger junta suit against Tinubu, ECOWAS. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency operatives injured in gunfight with Edo drug cartel. Mo Abudu makes Forbes 100 most powerful list. Ex-footballer lost Delta local government chair for rehabilitating stadium. Lagos trains councillors in legislative function. Army recruitment participate in screening. Delta tells indigents. Army recruitment. Participate in screening. Delta tells indigents. Sanwo-Olu opens Lagos police station. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning. Abu Razak approves 100% CO coerce for para nurses. Abu Razak approves 100 CONHESS consolidated health salary structure for para nurses. University of Ilorin reduces staff children's fees by 25%. Police guard Rivers Assembly, resist pro-Wike lawmakers. Akem Lasisi holds poetry exhibition. Military airstrike kills over 50 bandits, injures scores. Tinubu Nupeng orders mourns as Kokori dies at 80. Rivers spare parts traders list conditions for market relocation. Delta communities leaders Lord local government chair over peace initiative. Female people with disability, fees 500 in Benin. Delta ACMPN celebrates 11th anniversary, 6 credit facility. ECOWAS, G's, back domestication of gender policy in Edo. Rivers farmers clamor for anti-bush burning law. Kaduna bombing, federal government vows to punish culprits. ACF demands GOC's removal. Kaduna bombing, ex-defense chief warns against demoralizing troops. Inmates get 750 naira feeding allowance. Docs 800 naira. NCS. No report of gender-based violence should be dismissed. Advocate. Police arrest IPOB fighters, recover weapons. Biafran currency. Headquarters of New Ondo LCDAs won't change. Assembly. Navy, Tompolo, FEM, clash over arrested vessel. Navy, Tompolo, FEM, clash over arrested vessel. That's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper this morning. And from the Punch newspaper, we'll flip over to Daily Post newspaper. Zamfara, two kidnapped female corps members regain freedom. Construction of Vice President Lodge. Stop telling lies against me, Wike. MPA clears air seeking collaboration to write off $852.93 million, 1.8 billion naira bad debt. Kokori's debt, irreparable loss to labor movements in Nigeria, Africa, Aremu. JST neutralizes 50 armed bandits in Niger. Oil theft, troops orders intercept vessel in Ondo. Nigeria Correctional Service reacts to allegations of forceful removal of Emefiele from Correctional Center. Anxiety as Lagos seals RCCG mocks hotels over environmental infractions. Anxiety as Lagos seals RCCG mocks hotels over environmental infractions. EFIC throne tussle. Reconciliation Committee inaugurated. Tinubu appoints Lokpobiri to serve as board chairman of NCDMB. Others. Kogi government begins domestication of national gender policy. Group urges Akwa Ibom government to back call for Tinubu's approval of anti-sexual harassment bill. That's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. From the Daily Post newspaper, we'll flip over to the Nation newspaper. Foundation lists 168 entrepreneurs with 90 million naira. ACF rejects Defense Headquarters response, demands redeployment of GOC. NYSC secures release of core members kidnapped in Zamfara. Oba Edema vows to promote Yoruba heritage. CIBN Bank honors citizens with awards, cash gifts. House of Reps promises to reposition health sector. Lagos will support private developers. Lagos Civil Service Commission holds retreat on artificial intelligence. Tinubu appoints Lokobri, Share, Ogbe, ES, NCDMB. Kogi poll. Court orders Yahaya Bello to pay SDP candidate 500 million naira. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning. No attempt to forcefully remove Emefiele from correctional center, says NISCG. 15 billion naira VP's house. We cannot Obi. Dares protesters. Army seeks removal from envelope funding system. Senate gives Kyari NUPRC boss 24 hours to appear for defense. Reps panel to probe Nigeria Air. Nigeria Correctional Service spends more to feed dogs than inmates, says CG. FHA, no going back on demolition of houses on petrol pipelines, others. Tinubu appoints Lokobri Share, Ogbe ES of NCDMB. You are listening to newspaper headlines on Ebona at the 103.5 FM. We'll now go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
Unity Cup, ọ ga-adịkwa egwu. Ndị Love Bite Fruits and Beverages Limited n'Obi na-ekpokọba asọmpi egwuregwu bọọlụ ga-adị n'etiti obodo 17 dị na Idemili North and South Local Government Area, Anambra State. Obodo ndị a ga-aga debanye aha n'aka ndị na-ekpokọba nyaba asọmpi n'efu. Ha ga-ewere fọm n'isi ụlọ ọrụ ndị Love Bite Fruits nke dị na Nnobi ma wechighata ya opekata mpe ụbọchị ọnwa Disemba ga-adị na mkpụrụ ụbọchị 20. A ga-enye obodo ọbụla ga-esonye na asọmpi a ego dị 200,000 naira iji wee kwado nke ọma. Ihe nrite nke mbụ 2 million naira, ihe nrite nke abụọ 1 million naira, nke atọ 500,000 naira. Ọ ga-akpọtụ na Central School Field Umuru Nnobi mmalite na 24th wee rute 31st December 2023 dịrịkwa na 1st January 2024. A ga-ekwupụtakwazi ihe ndị ọzọ gbasara asọmpi a n'ọdịnihu. Mgbakpọ ekwentị a 07033885866. Onye binyere aka n'ọkwa bụ Mr. Christian Abajuo, Head of Marketing and Brand Development, Love Bite Fruits Limited Nnobi. Love Bite Family Fiesta, Chidestino Events and Media na-akpọ ezinụlọ niile ka ha bịa sonye n'emume nke akpọrọ Love Bite Family Fiesta. Ọ bụ ebe ezinụlọ dị iche iche ma mama, papa, ụmụaka ga-agbakọnata wee nwekọ aṅụrị ọnụ. A ga-enwe ọtụtụ ihe nkiri, a ga-enwekwa ọtụtụ egwuregwu, a ga-enwekwa asọmpi ịgba egwu. Mickey Mouse na Burumburu ya ga-anọ live, tinyekwara ndị kọmedian egwu na akịnụ nke n'akụkọ bịa gbara anya dị ekeresimesi. Ọ ga-adị ụbọchị Fraịde abalị 15 n'ọnwa Disemba n'afọ 2023 n'elekere 10 nke ụtụtụ kpọmkwem na Sharon Hall dị na GRA Onitsha na ndịchapụ DMGS Roundabout Ọka Road Onitsha. Nelson White bụ onye na-ekpokọba emume a. Ekwentị a 08032482101. Love Bite Fruits and Beverages Limited Nnobi na-akwado emume a n'ụzọ pụrụ iche. Love Bite Family Fiesta, kpọrọ ezinụlọ gị bịaba.
Police for vigilante. Now my business. When I will tell you AJ radio drama, there we go. AJ radio drama, Eriko, Ghana Dialogue every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. Now, everyone at 103.5 FM. If you move and finish your business, A lot of people complain about not using their talents the way they want to. Utilize this opportunity today. Are you an aspiring actor, musician, dancer? Here is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register with Bubble Rock Productions at Ebona the 103.5 FM today to make your God-given gift money-making venture using your God-given gift today. For more information, call 080 39167049. Don't miss out on this opportunity.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebonade FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be,
Government, whatever.
Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets, in your community. Street report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifanju, as our number the force every
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we're live at Ebona the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. I am Martin. We are on to the Nation newspaper. FHA, no going back on demolition of houses on petrol pipelines. Others. Tinubu appoints Lopobri, Chair, Ogbe ES of NCDMB. NJC reinstates Justice Ojo as Osun Chief Judge, kicks Adeleke's petition out. Court orders Governor Bello to pay SDP's candidate 500 million naira. That's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. From the Nation newspaper, we'll flip over to the Sun newspaper. UBA Business Series. E-commerce operators urge small, medium enterprises to add value, track growth, keep proper documentation. Cost of imported goods to increase as CBN hikes exchange rate to 951.941 per dollar. Cost of imported goods to increase as CBN hikes exchange rate to 951 naira or 941 per dollar. War over BP's 15 billion naira residence. Supreme Court judgment. We are ready to receive Kanu IPOB. Tinubu, governor, labor unions, others mourn as Kokori dies on 80th birthday. Ganduje, Alake, chief of defense staff, Meshia, others tax citizens on patriotism at book launch. Supreme Court judgment. We are ready to receive Kanu IPOB. Tinubu, governor, Tinubu, governor, labor unions. We've taken this. Mother of address home founder, Onosanya, for burial, December 14th. Nnewi importers tax Anambra government on heavy taxation. Ebonyi shuts down 5 fake hospitals, 107 quacks sign understanding. Salis, why sitting president can't be removed? No level of sabotage can make me surrender our mandate. Fubara. Airports extortion. FAAN moves to end menace. Oni once against promotion of foreign commodities makes case for locally made dress for legislators. 2024 budget defense. Army proposes 789.2 billion naira. Says reduction would impede fight against insecurity. UK company paid $44 annually for managing each IPPIS account. ASU, EFCC, DSS, NCS denies alleged attempt to abduct Emefiele from custodial center. NJC sacks Osun State Judge for misconduct. 16 days activism. State woman Lydian Abazwe calls for immediate action to end gender-based violence. ATBU student killed trying to retrieve girlfriend's stolen phone. Police. Tudon, Biri bombings. Whoever is found wanting will be punished. Tinubu. Justice Ojo remains Osun's CJ. NJC rules. LOME urges federal government to disburse $350 million CVFF to grow local capacity building. KB government donates 27 vehicles to security agencies to bolster security in state. That's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. And from the Sun newspaper, we flip over to Nigerian Tribune. UNICEF, Bauchi government collaboration to determine number of out-of-school children. NCSCG denies DSS, EFCS. NCSCG denies DSS, EFCC attempt to abduct Emefiele. We have reduced rate of illegalities in mining sector. Dele Alake. Federal government urged to conduct independent probe of Kaduna drone attack. Kaduna bombing, totally unnecessary. ACF replies defense headquarters. PDP Kwara chapter gets new executives. Nupeng, TUC, Mon Kokori. NJC sacks Osun High Court judge over official misconduct. Insecurity, Army laments on underfunding, seek adequate budgetary provisions. Kwara hotel owner asks government to promote work-life balance. Fubara promises to prioritize development in education, entrepreneurship, agriculture. Tinubu mourns June 12 hero. Kokori. Reps seek international collaboration to combat corruption. UK-based Nigerian tech entrepreneur backs Global Business Award. That's the much we can take from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And with that, from Nigerian Tribune, this is the spot where we will conclude all that we have for you on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona Day 103.5 FM. As network will not allow us to bring you news from this day newspaper. We will now flip over to our WhatsApp portal to bring you reactions. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Comrade Manley Oduogo from Odumobosi. And he says, my fellow Nigerians, it is not funny that after the inauguration of a new democratically elected government in 1999, 24 years down the line, Nigeria could be better seen as moving from bad to worse. Today, the country sits on the edge with the brutal reality of failure staring it at the face. All aspirations, optimism, and yearnings that accompanied democracy have nosedived into disillusionment and disenchantment. My rhetoric question is, which way out of the woods? Comrade Manley Oduogo from Odumobisi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson, and he's joining us from 33 in Onitsha. And he says, National Assembly begins debate on 2024 budget despite debt servicing concerns. This is an absolute misplaced priorities. Imagine spending 15 billion naira only on presidential house while poor masses are suffering and dying. They should rather use the money to construct good roads and improve on security. Cost of imported goods to increase as CBN hikes exchange rates to 951.941 naira per dollar. Does it mean that the Shege renewal has come to stay? I strongly sympathize with the family of the former Nupeng General Secretary, Frank Kokori, who dies at 80. This is coming from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson from 33. Now we have this message. This one is coming from the boss from Okozu, and he says, yeah, I'm happy if they release Mazen and the Kano. Chukwu Kika Biama. He said, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. This one is coming from Valentine Edene from Mumbo, and he says, how can you expect to get best treatment here in Nigeria? Why non-government hospitals are well equipped, let alone functioning well, because Nigerian leaders never made anything will benefit the masses but their pockets. That's why they will make in Naira and spend in dollars happily. We are indirectly emulating Somalia instead of UK, America, or Paris. Where do they travel to? Valentine Edene from Mumbo, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Still on our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message coming from Maloto Patrick Komonteje, and he says, I quite agree with that. Restructuring is critical to Nigeria's development. For those who don't know, and for those who are afraid of restructuring, I want to use this opportunity to allay their fears. Restructuring is the act of bringing all the ethnic groups, religious leaders, major traditional leaders, and other stakeholders of this country together in a round table for the purpose of charting a new course for the development of this country. And in that round table talk, all the representatives of the different bodies will be allowed to vent their grievances during the round table talk. Their opinions and views will be looked into, and at the end of the day, they will agree on the way forward. In the light of the above, I don't know why any sane or right-thinking person will be afraid of restructuring unless the person or group of persons have something at the back of their mind. May the soul of late Labour leader Chief Kokori rest in peace. He was a gallant Labour leader par excellence. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We also have a message, and this one is coming from famous Christian. He's joining us from Aguluzibo, if the village Aguluzibo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this one. It's coming from Jomak from Umpele Zunaka GRA, and he says, kudos to the Ebonyi government as they shut down illegal hospitals. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message. This one is coming from Agonabo, Naofa, Aguluzibo. What is happening in Nigeria is every day. everyday things will be unfolding. Let's the right of Nnamdi Kanu be released and let peace come to Southeast. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message. This one is coming from Comrade Budu from Abagana, and he says Nigeria have their way of annoyance. How can cash be scarce this time that both old and new design naira are in use? Can they print the old notes too? Some of us don't really understand Nigeria direction. I support the person who said the refineries should be sold to people who can make use of them. It's obvious the Nigerian government can't manage their refineries anymore. Also, Kaduna bombing unprofessional. The issue should be thoroughly investigated. We can't even trust our security anymore. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Chike Obata from Obineti Chokozo, and it says, "My Mr. President Tinubu said any any person found guilty of the Kaduna bombing will face judgment. I hope it is not only on news." And he continues and says, "The merging of some political parties is good, but they should put their house in peace to avoid tribalism. Why Tinubu continue to appoint people even in this hardship?" Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And from our WhatsApp portal, we'll flip over to Facebook portal. We have a message coming from Chuku Chuku, and he says, "Good morning, Metal." Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this one coming from Ogugwa Kenneth Okuchuku, and he says he's joining us from Umuoba Lishi, Umuoba Lishi, Umuoba Anam, and he says bombing of Kaduna people is unprofessional, pathetic. Those that are supposed to protect us are killing us. No hope for security apparatus in Nigeria. Let those summit our president is going to up and down reflect in our economy, because we are dying of hunger. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara, and she says, "We have all it takes to develop this country, but it is held ransom. Okay, it is held ransom by some greedy and selfish people. Good leadership is a luxury in Nigeria, a country where evil has been allowed to bestride and ravage our polity unchallenged. Good leaders don't take advantage, intimidate, or diminish their subjects. A lost nation is one in which hungry and jobless people blindly support those responsible for their agony and misery. We will keep speaking out and telling the truth." Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara. We have a message. This one is coming from also Francis Nnamani, and he's joining us from Amagunze in Enugu State, and he says, "The federal government and CBN should do everything possible to avert any form of cash scarcity to ameliorate the plight of Nigerians. May God help us." Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Okukwa. He's coming from Voice of Mbise, Nwachuku Kennedy Chinedu from Okukwa Umuhu Okwato, and he says, "Federal government vowing to punish culprits over Kaduna bombing is laughable because that has been their language. They will to tell that they are on top of the matter without knowing that the matter are on top of them. May God help us. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, Francis Nnamani, once again joining us from Amagunze in Enugu State, says the abduction of 10 Nasarawa varsity students by gunmen was very unfortunate, disheartening, and condemnable. Mr. President should explore every possible measures towards tackling the state of insecurity in this country. May God help us. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, Francis Nnamani. Again, on our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message is coming from Honorable Obasi, aka Authority is More Than Power. Tribunal waiting for Mazen Nande Kano. Matter is a welcome development, but let it not be like election tribunal judgment. And also, this present government should stop talking with the citizens of Nigeria. May God help Nigeria. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have this message is coming from Amechi Anene from Uru William Gidi, and he says, let our leaders lead us well. God bless Nigeria. Thank you so much. We have a message. This one is coming from Undubisu Kapo from Momo Ezomonachi, and he says, Senate funds as correctional center chiefs spend more money for dogs feeding than prison inmates. It's only in Nigeria we heard such wicked and inhumane news. Senate should not sweep this such abomination under the carpet. He continued and says, Dangote refinery set to commence work is a welcome development. Let other well-meaning Nigerians invest on refinery and industry in Nigeria. Thanks. It is coming from Ndubisu Kapo from Umu Ezomonachi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And with that message from Undubisoka, for this is the spot where we'll call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebonade 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way weekdays in the morning once it's 7 o'clock, so keep a date and don't touch the dial of Ebonade 103.5 FM. Once it's 8:20, we'll be back with Birthday Splash. Until we meet again, have a fabulous morning. Good morning.
Nabagoa production. Police for vigilante. My business. When I will tell you, SDJ radio drama, Eric. AJ radio drama, Erico, Ghana Dialogue every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. Now, F1 103.5 FM. If you move and finish your business, A lot of people complain about not using their talents the way they want to. Utilize this opportunity today. Are you an aspiring actor, musician, dancer? Here is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register with Babula Production at Ebona the 103.5 FM today to make your God-given gift money-making venture using your God-given gift today. For more information, call 080-3916-7049. Don't miss out on this opportunity.
Ọ dị mma ezinụlọ.